In this video, we will be using sine, cosine, and tangent to find missing sides and angles of right triangles, and occasionally we will use the Pythagorean theorem. So, you will hear me say and write the phrase Sohcahtoa very often. All right, so when I say Sohcahtoa, this is an acronym. This stands for sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we're supposed to find the sine of angle L for problem number 1. So what you should do is label the hypotenuse first. The hypotenuse is across from the 90-degree angle, so that makes this the hypotenuse. Circle the angle that you're talking about. So here's angle L. Draw yourself an arrow going away from the angle. That arrow will point at the opposite side. The other side will be the adjacent side. So we're doing sine. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that means that sine of L, the angle I circled, should equal 13 over 85. So 13 over 85. And that's it. A lot of times we're being asked to solve for the angle, for example, and that's something that we could do. But in this case, we were just supposed to find the trig ratio as a reduced fraction. So this is all they wanted. So if I want to find the tangent of angle F, and so now we are talking about angle F, but start with the hypotenuse. So this is the hypotenuse because it's across from the 90-degree angle. Circle the angle that you are dealing with. Draw your arrow. That tells you which side is the opposite side, and the other side is the adjacent side. So this time we're doing tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we will do tangent of the angle is equal to opposite over adjacent, that's 80 over 18. Now, these are even numbers, so I can easily tell that they need to be reduced. Half of 80 is 40. Half of 18 is 9. So 40 over 9. If you ever have trouble reducing, do remember that your calculator will do it for you. If you do 40 over, it was 80. If you do 80 over 18, okay, so your calculator will reduce for you if you need that. Okay, switching gears a little bit. So now we're using the fact that the sum of the angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. But when we have right triangles, we can do even better than that, and we can realize that the two acute angles have to add up to 90 degrees. So if this angle is 27 degrees, the other angle we should be able to subtract from 90. So we will do 90 minus 27. And that is 63. All right, so the unknown angle measure is 63 degrees. So similarly, just going to keep on changing colors, we should be able to find this angle by doing 90 minus 56. All right, so 90 minus 56, and that's 34. All right, so that was easy. Now we will do the Pythagorean theorem, which you might have learned as a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. But one thing that you have to keep in mind is that the c has to be the hypotenuse of the triangle. Okay, so the missing side is right here. I'll go ahead and put an X there. But please understand that this 36 is the hypotenuse. It's across from the 90-degree angle. So the 36 has to be by itself when we do this. So this is going to be x squared plus 13 squared is equal to 36 squared. So this will be x squared plus 169 is equal to whatever 36 squared is, 1,296. And then we subtract 169 from both sides. So that means x squared is equal to, okay, so subtract, what did I say? Oh, 169. Subtract 169. So 1,127. Then finally we do the square root to get the final answer. So that is 33.571. Got to round up. 33.571. All right, now let's do that one more time. This time the unknown side is right here. This is, in fact, the hypotenuse. It is across from the 90-degree angle. So we will make sure that this hypotenuse is over here by itself. So this time I will have 7 squared plus 18 squared. By the way, the order of these doesn't matter, as long as the hypotenuse is by itself. So that's going to be 49 plus 324 is equal to x squared. Okay, so that's 373. And then we take the square root to find x. Square root of 373. If this happens and you get a radical still, just hit this button and you'll get the decimal. So 19.313. Okay. All right, so now we're using trigonometry, sine, cosine, or tangent. So we are going to start with the hypotenuse. So here's the 90-degree angle. That makes this the hypotenuse. We circle the angle that we are given and draw an arrow. That makes this the opposite side, and that makes this the adjacent side. So we will write Sohcahtoa. Now we have to decide which one we will use. Well, we have the x and the 22 on the sides. That's opposite and adjacent. Well, that's going to be the tangent function, which is the one that has opposite and adjacent. So we will write tangent of the angle is equal to opposite over adjacent, x over 22. So, is this the one where we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is in the top, in the numerator, this is when you multiply. So we will multiply both sides by the 22. That will cancel these out and leave x by itself. So we just have to put this in the calculator. 22 tangent 52. Okay, 22 tangent 52. Whoops. 22 tangent 52. That's 28.159. Got to round up. 28.159. So 28.159 is equal to x. All right, moving on to number 8. So where's the hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is right here across from the 90-degree angle. Circle the angle you're given, draw an arrow. That will be the opposite side. The other side is adjacent. All right, now remember Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to use? Look at the sides. We have x here and 37 here. That's opposite and hypotenuse. So that tells us to use the sine function, which involves opposite and hypotenuse. Specifically, sine of the angle that we circled is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So that's 37 over x. So, do we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is in the numerator, we multiply. When the variable is in the denominator, we swap. So we're going to take these and swap them. So the x is going to end up over here, and then we will have 37 over sine 44. All right, these two things swap. And then this is something that I can put in the calculator. Okay, 37 over sine 44. $53.264. Got to round up. 53.264. Alrighty then. Time for number 9. Where is the hypotenuse? So here is the hypotenuse right here across from the 90-degree angle. Next, circle the angle that we are looking for. Draw an arrow that will point to the opposite side. The other side is adjacent. Write Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to use? Well, look at the sides. We have 15 and we have 19. That is adjacent and hypotenuse. That tells us to use the cosine function, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we will write cosine of the angle, even though it's a variable, is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So 15 over 19. Do I multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is inside the trig function, this is when you inverse. So that means we will do inverse cosine with a little -1 right here. Inverse cosine of 15 over 19. And that will equal x. To the calculator. So inverse cosine, so second cosine, 15 over 19. 37.864. Got to round up. 37.864. All right, time for number 10. Which side is the hypotenuse? That's going to be the 78 right here across from the 90-degree angle. Next, circle the angle you're given, draw an arrow. This will be the opposite side. The other side will be the adjacent side. Write Sohcahtoa. Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to use? Look at the sides. We have the x and we have the 78. That's opposite and hypotenuse. That means we will use the sine function because it involves opposite and hypotenuse. Specifically, sine of the angle will equal opposite over hypotenuse, so that is x over 78. Will we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is in the numerator, this is when you multiply. So we will multiply both sides by 78. That will cancel these 78s out, leaving x by itself. Put this in your calculator. 78 sine 46. 78 sine 46. That's 56.109. Got to round up. 56.109. All right, moving on to number 11. Where's the hypotenuse? Hypotenuse is right here. Always start with that. It's across from the 90-degree angle. Next, circle the angle that you're looking for. Draw the arrow away. That will indicate the opposite side. The other side is going to be the adjacent side. Okay, all right. I guess I'll just write Sohcahtoa right here. Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to use? Look at the sides, 27 and 62. That's opposite and adjacent. All right, I see tangent is opposite over adjacent, so that's the one we need to use. So we will write tangent of the angle we circled is equal to opposite over adjacent. So 62 over 27. Do we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is inside the trig function, this is when we do inverse. So we will do inverse tangent with a little -1 on it of 62 over 27, and that should equal x. All right, inverse tangent 62 over 27. Inverse tangent 62 over 27. 66.468. Got to round up. 66.468. Okay, moving on to number 12. Where is the hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is right here across from the 90-degree angle. Circle the angle that you are given. Draw an arrow. That is going to tell you the opposite side. The other side will be the adjacent side. Now, write Sohcahtoa. Let's see. So, Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to use? Look at the sides. We have the x and we have the 19. That is adjacent and hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse. That's cosine. So we will use cosine. So we will do cosine of the angle that we circled, which is 37, is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's going to be 19 over x. Do we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is in the denominator, this is when we swap these. So the x will end up over here by itself, and then we will have 19 over cosine 37, which we can easily put in the calculator. 19 over cosine 37. 23.791. Got to round up. 23.791. All right, so that's it for number 12. Okay, moving on to number 13. Let's see, so we're supposed to solve this right triangle. We're recording our answers right here. So we are given some information and we're looking for this other information. So first, we need to find angle U. Well, that's going to be pretty easy because we're given one angle. So the other angle should simply be 90 minus the first angle, 90 minus 57. So that is going to be 33. Okay, so the measure of angle U is 33 degrees. All right, next we're going to find the measure of side TU. Well, let's go ahead and put an X there, since that's what we're looking for. So what are we going to do? It looks like we should use sine, cosine, or tangent. So where is the hypotenuse? So the hypotenuse is right here, across from the 90 degrees. Go ahead and draw a circle around the angle that you're given, and then draw an arrow going away. That means that this side is the opposite side, and this side over here is adjacent. Time to write Sohcahtoa. All right, Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to actually use? Well, we have the 16, and then we have x. That is opposite and adjacent. So that's going to be the tangent function, which is opposite over adjacent. So we will write tangent of the angle, 57, is equal to opposite over adjacent. So that'll be x over 16. Do we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is in the numerator, this is when we multiply. So we will multiply both sides by 16. That way these will cancel each other out and leave x by itself. So 16 tangent 57 is something we can put in the calculator. So 16 tangent 57, 24.638. Got to round up. So 24.638. Okay, so that is TU. All right, what's next? So now we're going to find side SU. SU is right here, so let's go ahead and put an X there to show that that's what we are looking for. Now, where's the hypotenuse? Well, this is actually the hypotenuse. It is across from the 90-degree angle. Circle the angle you're given, draw an arrow. That'll be the opposite side. The other side is the adjacent side. All right, let's go ahead and write Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to use? Well, look at the sides. We have the x and we have the 16. That's adjacent and hypotenuse. Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so let's use that. So that means we will write cosine of the angle we circled is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So that'll be 16 over x. To solve this, will we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is in the denominator, this is when we swap these. So the x will end up over here by itself, and then we will have 16 over cosine 57. And this is something that we can put in the calculator. So that is 29.377. Okay, so that is SU. All right, so that's it. We solved the entire triangle. We found every missing side and missing angle. Okay, so now we need to do that again with this new set of information. So this time we're given these two sides and we have to find everything else. Let's start by finding SU. Okay, so SU is right here. All right, so let's go ahead and mark that. Now, where is the hypotenuse? Well, this is the hypotenuse. It's across from the 90-degree angle. Actually, so normally I would be looking for an angle to circle, you know, an angle that we're given or an angle that we're looking for, and I would draw an arrow and that would be the opposite side. But there is no angle. We're not looking for an angle right now. We're not given an angle. So what's up with that? Well, that's because we're not supposed to be using sine, cosine, or tangent right now. This is a Pythagorean theorem problem. See how it's all sides, no angles? That's when you do the Pythagorean theorem. It's still good to know that this is the hypotenuse because when you do your a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the c has to be the hypotenuse. So it's good to be aware of it. So we will do 25 squared plus 17 squared is equal to x squared. All right, just make sure the hypotenuse goes over here by itself. So 25 squared is 625. I think 17 squared is 289, but I'm going to check. Okay, so that's 289 plus the 625 gives us 914. So we have 914 is equal to x squared. last, you have to take the square root of both sides. When you get a radical like this, just hit this button and you'll get the decimal. So 30.232. All right, so that is SU, or US. All right, what's next? Now we need to find angle U. So let's go ahead and put an X there, because that's what we are looking for. Which is the hypotenuse? Well, this is the hypotenuse right here, across from the 90-degree angle. This time we do have an angle to circle that we are looking for. Draw an arrow. This will be the opposite side, and the other will be the adjacent side. So now would be a good time to write Sohcahtoa. But which one are we going to use? Well, the sides are 17 and 25. That's opposite and adjacent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so let's use that. So we will have tangent of the angle we circled is equal to opposite over adjacent, so that's 17 over 25. Do we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is inside the trig function, this is when we inverse. So I will do inverse tangent of 17 over 25. And that will give us x. Okay, so 34.216. Got to round up, 34.216. All right, so that is angle U. All right, so this is degrees. All right, what is next? Next, we are going to find angle S. So look, here's angle S right here. I could do the same thing and do sine, cosine, or tangent to find x just like I did before. But that would be the long way. We just found that angle U was 34.216. So we just found that this angle right here is 34.216 degrees. So if we want to find the other angle, the quickest way is just to subtract from 90. So this should just be 90 minus 34.216. So that is 55.784. All right, so that is angle S. Okay, I think that's everything. All right, yeah, we were missing two angles and a side, and we found them all. So we solved that triangle. All right, we're almost done. We just have a couple of word problems to do next. So we have a 45-foot long cable that connects the top of a 25-foot tall tower to a stake in the ground. So here's the cable. So let's go ahead and write the 45 right here. 25-foot tall tower. So that means this is 25 right here. Of course, the tower is straight up and down. So this is our 90-degree angle. What is the angle formed by the cable and the ground? So here's the cable and here's the ground. So this is the angle that we are looking for. Let's put an X right there. All right, this is going to be a sine, cosine, or tangent problem. So let's go ahead and identify the hypotenuse. So this will be the hypotenuse right here across from the 90-degree angle. Circle the angle we're looking for, draw an arrow. That tells you the opposite side. The other side is going to be the adjacent side. Next, write Sohcahtoa somewhere. I'm going to squeeze it in right here. Sohcahtoa. Now, which one should we use though? Look at the sides. We have 25 and 45. That's opposite and hypotenuse. Oh, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So let's use that. So sine of the angle we circled is opposite over hypotenuse. So 25 over 45. Now, do we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is inside the trig function, this is when you inverse. So we will do inverse sine of 25 over 45. And that will give us x. $33.749. Got to round up. 33.749. Now, because this is a word problem, we need to be careful to use our units. So these lengths are in feet, so this will be feet. All right, if you leave off your units, you will lose points. All right, let's do a couple more. We're almost done. Okay, a roller coaster car goes up a hill at a 33-degree angle of incline. All right, so this is a 33-degree hill, all right, as measured with the ground. That's when we're talking about an incline. That means like boom, right here. So after going over 250 feet of track, all right, so that's going to be the path that the car took. So the 250 feet of track is right here. Oh, it even says diagonally right there. How high off the ground is the roller coaster? So the height of the roller coaster right there will be, we'll call it x. That's what we're looking for. So which side is the hypotenuse? Here's the hypotenuse across from the 90-degree angle. Circle the angle that you're given, draw an arrow. That's going to be the opposite side. The other side is the adjacent side. Write Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to use? Look at the sides. We have the x, of course, and we have the 250. That's opposite and hypotenuse. Well, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so let's use that. So sine of the angle we circled is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, so x over 250. Do we multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is in the numerator, this is when we multiply. So we will multiply both sides by 250. That way these cancel out, leaving x by itself. And this is something that we can put in the calculator. 250 sine 33. 136.159, but I have to round up. It's always tricky with a 9. Just look at this as 59. 59 rounds up to 60. So this will be 136.160. The units are in feet, so don't forget your units on a word problem. Okay, all right, there's only 2 more problems left. We're almost done. A ladder leans against a wall. The ladder is 18 feet long, so right away that tells us that the 18 is right here. The bottom of the ladder is 4 feet away from the bottom of the wall. So here's the bottom of the ladder, here's the bottom of the wall. So these are 4 feet apart. What is the angle formed between the ladder and the ground? So the ground is down here, so we must be talking about this angle right here. All right, the wall is straight, so this is my 90-degree angle. Where is the hypotenuse? So here's the hypotenuse across from the 90 degrees. Circle the angle that we're looking for, draw that arrow. This will be the opposite side. The other side will be the adjacent side. Write Sohcahtoa. Which one are we going to use though? Look at the sides. We have the 18 and the 4. That's adjacent and hypotenuse. Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so let's use that. So cosine of the angle that we circled, cosine of x, is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's 4 over 18. Do I multiply, swap, or inverse? When the variable is inside the trig function, this is when we inverse. So we should do inverse cosine of 4 over 18 is equal to x. $77.160. All right, and this is an angle, so our units are simply degrees. All right, and that brings us to the last problem. An ant stands 300 feet away from the base of a building. All right, so here's the ant, here's the base of the building. All right, so these are 300 feet apart. So here's the 300 right here. A building that is 40 feet tall. Okay, so the height of the building is 40, and that's going to be right here. This is a 90-degree angle. What is the angle of elevation from the ant's position? All right, so the angle of elevation, all right, and it tells us to look from the ant's perspective. So that's down here on the ground. So let's go ahead and put our x right here. This is the angle that we're looking for. So where is the hypotenuse? Here's the hypotenuse right here across from the 90-degree angle. Circle the angle we are looking for, draw an arrow, that will be the opposite side. The other side is the adjacent side. So go ahead and write Sohcahtoa. But which one are we going to use? Look at the sides. We have 40 and 300. That's opposite and adjacent. So that's going to be the tangent function. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So let's write tangent of the angle, opposite over adjacent, so that's going to be 40 over 300. Do we multiply, swap, or inverse? Well, just like the last problem, when the variable is inside the trig function, that is when we inverse. So we will do inverse tangent of 40 over 300. And that's a calculator thing. So that is 7.595. Got to round up. 7.595. And this is an angle, so the units will be degrees.